You should follow your passion, get a job, and save your money. That's some of the worst advice I've received in my life. And so the reason is that it's very incomplete, it's not detailed, and it's not actually how wealth is actually created. Hi, my name is Alvin Taveras. I'm the founder and CEO of Build to Rent, and we help builders sell through their inventory directly to investors just like you. In today's video, I'm going to share the actual good advice that I would share to my son, to my loved one, as to what the playbook is for them to build wealth. If you like videos like this, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. Now let's get to it. Number one on the list is to learn a high income skill, and here's why. Don't be obsessed about debt, investing, or anything else until you have a high income skill. Nothing else matters. If you're trying to become a real estate investor and you're broke poor, focus on not becoming broke poor by increasing your income. It's much easier to buy properties and to invest when you have money. There's also going to be a limit on how much you can save money. If you don't make money, that means you're not spending money, which means that there's a limit on how much you can create wealth by saving your money. Instead, focus the majority of your effort on learning high income skills. Now, learning high income skills is different than just trying to become rich. So the advice is not to go play the lottery, not to sell drugs, not to steal from people. You want to learn skills that each and every year you can use to make more and more money. And high income for this category, I would say 80K minimum to start. Once we get to about 80K, then you can start going up from there. So what are some good high paying income skills? Number one on my list is sales, the ability to sell people. And I'm not saying get a college degree, I'm saying learn how to sell. Second is actually earning the high income. Now there's a big gap between the two. You could have a high income skill, but if you don't use it to actually generate high income, it's useless. You have to actually use it to get the high income. So if you're good at sales, prove it, demonstrate it by earning high income. And so when you actually see the money come into your account, when you see the money actually be there, and not just for like a 3-month period of time, but consistently over a year, over 2 years, now you can actually say that you have a high income skill. And by earning the high income, now we have room to play with. Now you can figure out how do you get more income, how do you save money, how do you invest. Now options open up after you've actually earned the high income. Number 3 on the list is to build strong relationships. Guys, keep in mind, building strong relationships is not number one. Number one is an obligation to yourself to learn a high income skill. So you cannot put anyone else in front of yourself. Only after you have a high income skill, then you are a value and a benefit to other people. Now you can go ahead and recruit people onto your team. You can go join someone else's team. Now you are of value, you are of usefulness for other people around you. This includes having kids. This includes getting married. This includes going into a business partnership. You want to make sure you have enough income producing skill sets before you dive into any type of serious partnership. If you go into any of these relationships with the wrong skill sets, you cannot hold your own. And now you're possibly depending on other people to make you successful. And that's never where you want to land. You want to develop yourself first, then enter strong partnerships. Now, what strong partnerships allow you to do is moving forward, you can expedite the wealth building activities. So for example, myself, I leveraged heavily going into a very strong relationship, a strong wife. My wife is also a high income earner. So when you get to the point where you have 2 high income earners working together, saving money and doubling the amount of earning potential, now the wealth building capabilities goes through the roof. Once you've established strong relationships, you now want to work on number 4, which is you want to buy a property as quickly as possible. Again, up to this point, you're making high income, you have good relationships, things are working well, you have momentum on your side. Now you want to buy a property as quickly as possible. And I don't care if you're buying a property with 2 of your buddies, if you buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other, if you do a house hack, would you buy a property and rent out the bedrooms, or if you do a live and flip. You put 5% down on a property and rehab it while you live in the property, then you move out and keep it as a rental. But the key is you want to start your wealth building as quickly as possible. As soon as you can, you want to start accumulating assets, real assets, not simply making investments. You want to accumulate real assets as quickly as you can. One of the key benefits of starting early is you'll start to see the benefits early, and it will motivate you to keep doing it. Up to this point, your expenses and your tastes are going to be lower. So as you build more wealth, you're gonna have more expensive tastes. You're gonna appreciate more expensive things. When you're early in your career, anything you do is then exciting, can be fun for you. You're perfectly fine with it. You're now building that appetite and seeing the results, saying, hey, I wanna do more of this. So if you can every single year buy another property, whether it's a house hack, live and flip, whatever, you wanna use as little leverage as possible, and make sure that whatever you are buying has long-term benefits. That rehab that you purchase better also work as a long-term rental. That house that you bought for yourself better also work as a long-term rental. Being a long-term rental is your safety net. That's what protects you from your downside. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to enter a bad deal. So enjoy the house while you live in it. Try to live for free if you're house hacking. Or if you're doing a live and flip, hopefully it appreciates in value and you can sell it for a profit. But if not, you can hold on to it as a long-term rental. Number 5 is when we're gonna pay off our dumb debt. When I say dumb debt, I mean all these medical bills, credit cards, anything that you have that's not actually making you money. Besides your primary home, you wanna pay it off. Listen guys, one of the biggest goals in life is to eventually live where you're financially free. Well, earning more money can get hard. Eliminating dumb debt, as long as you're systematic about it, you can be very aggressive and do it rather quickly. My wife and I paid off over $100K in student loan debt by just actively, collaboratively paying it off, being very aggressive, selling a property, paying off huge chunks at a time. And then once you pay off all your dumb debt, the amount that you can keep each and every month goes up. Your savings rate goes through the roof. That makes it now a lot easier to buy another property and to be a lot more aggressive on the acquisition side. Again, the goal is you want to have a high savings rate and continuously acquire more and more assets. This leads into number 6. You want to have a high savings rate. And so one of the things you want to do is when you have a high income, you want to live below your means. So if you can live on a lot less than what you make, you're going to have a high savings rate. 2 ways to do this is 1, pay off all your dumb debt, which is student loans, your cars, your credit cards, all of that dumb debt. Pay it off, get it out of your life. The second part of it is that if you can collaborate with your partner, in my case, me and my wife, we collaborate, we say, hey, we're gonna save one of our incomes and live off of the other. So while we were living off just one of our incomes, we were living well below our means, but we're also saving a whole nother paycheck each and every month. Now, saving up an entire paycheck gets huge over a long period of time. It connected us as a relationship, connected us as a partnership, and we were very mission oriented. So now wherever we directed their funds was gonna grow and multiply. So if we were attacking our debt was gonna get paid off very quickly. If we were looking to buy the next property, we're gonna buy that next property very quickly. But because we were focused as a unit and living off of just half of the money that we made as a couple, we're able to now magnify our wealth so much quicker. Number 7, going along with paying dumb debt, living below your means, you also want to avoid dumb expenses. One of the biggest dumb expenses you can take on is a brand new car. So 1, you never buy brand new until you're actually wealthy, but you never buy brand new when you're still working your way up. A lot of that has to do with just the depreciation. As soon as you buy that new car and drive it off the lot, your value of that vehicle is going to plummet. So don't do that. Instead, buy a 2-year-old car. When you buy a 2-year-old car, you're still getting a brand new car. Most of the models don't change that much after each and every year. So you're able to get a very nicer car that's much more affordable, probably about 1/3 of the price off from the original purchase price if it was brand new. Still very reliable. You still be able to get 5-7 years out of it before you start getting maintenance and repair requests. So you can get a much cheaper vehicle that still works good, still looks good, for a much lower price point. The other kind of dumb debt is just health expenses. So guys, be proactive about your health, take care of yourself, eat vitamins, don't drink too much alcohol, don't eat a bunch of fatty foods, eat the right kind of fatty foods, should I say. But ultimately take care of your health. You don't want to start the cycle of having health issues. You don't want to go down that journey. You don't want to get to the point where you're just expending money just in the ER. Like that money is a money pit and it will go on forever. So invest in yourself early on, exercise, take care of your body. The other dumb expense is just lending money. So it's a very common trap to feel like you have more money than you need. So if someone needs money, you feel obligated to give it to them. The quick way to solve for that is to make sure that your money has a purpose. So for example, if I'm looking to buy a 600K duplex and I need $120,000 to get there, and someone else needs to borrow $500 for their car repair issues, like, well, you're way closer to your goal, $500, than I am to mine. I need $120K to buy this sixplex. So if you understand what your goals are and all of your money and future money is allocated towards your mission, you're not gonna fall for the trap of lending people money. So don't do it. Keep the money for yourself, make sure your money has a purpose, and don't get into the habit of giving it away without expecting it to come back. Number 8 is paying yourself first, and this means every time you get paid, your money needs to go in different directions. So you're gonna be paying off all your credit cards, right, from that initial payment. You're gonna have a portion of that going directly to a savings or investment account. This is what you will use each and every month to eventually get to buying your next property. You're gonna have your long-term savings account. This also works as an emergency fund. You should have about 6 months worth of reserves sitting in that account. And that can just sit in a treasury bill growing at 4%. That's a great thing just to have your money sitting in. And then also you wanna have money for your fund account. This is when you're planning a vacation, you're planning a wedding, planning something dope to do. You have money set aside just for those things. But a fun activity is not an emergency activity. So you're not gonna take money out of your emergency account, out of your debit account, out of any other account to pay for fun things. You're only gonna pay money into that fun account each and every month. And that's what's gonna pay for that cruise ship, that vacation, that birthday party, that Christmas gift, whatever that is. But you wanna definitely divide all of your money and make sure your money has a purpose. I recommend 4 different accounts, which is your credit cards, your emergency fund, your fun account, your long-term investment, and your emergency account. I think I may have said emergency twice, but you get the point. Emergency is very important. All right, so at number 9, we have where you become a grandparent. This is a step before we start actually reaping all the benefits. You want to make sure you can double the benefits. Now, what do I mean when I say become a grandparent? Well, so when you bought the first couple of properties, you became a parent, right? You own a couple of properties. Now you want to become a grandparent. The way that you become a grandparent is when you do a cash out refi. This is when you have enough equity inside of a property that you can pull equity out of that property and then use that equity to buy another property. At this stage, we are no longer using our own funds to buy properties. We're using the equity in the properties to buy properties. So our babies are making babies, but we are no longer dependent on our earned income. Our earned income was very important in the very beginning. Now at this stage of the game, we're in that multiplication stage. So we're turning that 4plex into a 16plex. So the first thing is you do a cash out refi every 5 years or so. And then every 10 years, you're gonna do a 1031 exchange. This is when you're gonna sell that property. Just when it gets to that point where some repairs are due and when things are around the corner, you wanna sell it, get out of that business of doing maintenance, and you wanna buy something at least 4 times bigger. So if it's a single family home, you wanna sell it into a 4plex. If that's a 4plex, you wanna sell it into a 12plex or a 16plex, but you always want to multiply and go bigger each and every time. Eventually you get to the point where you have a 32plex, all right? And all you're gonna do is just reap the benefit. So at number 10, we're talking about reaping the benefits, and this is when you're gonna fall into a dilemma because you're going into legacy or harvest mode. You gotta pick which one you're gonna do. If we're going into harvest mode, this is saying, you know what, we're just gonna continue to pay off our debt. We're gonna just let the debt depreciation take place, pay off the debt. We're gonna get bigger cash flow over a period of time. You say, hey, I don't even need any more doors. I'm just gonna take the benefit of it. So as your cash flow goes up now, and you're not working any harder, right? Now you're basically at the point where you're semi-retired, you're fully retired. Now you're just living off of the wealth that you did when you were way younger, right? You built something up over a period of time. Now you're taking advantage of the benefits. Or you can look at your position and say, you know what? Now that I have such strong equity position, now that I have so many doors and I'm so empowered, I can play the game differently now. And you may decide to go into legacy. When you start saying, hey, these 20 doors were good, but 120 would be even better. And now you start figuring out like, hey, I learned a couple of skill sets over a period of time. Maybe I want to go into development. Maybe I want to go into syndication, but maybe I want to actually create a real estate business now as a result of this. Now, when you go into legacy mode, you're going to bring in more partners. More people get involved. You're going to play the real estate game differently than you did in the very beginning. You might decide, hey, I'm going to own my own property management company and my company will manage all of our doors. Hey, I'm going to go into syndication and I'm going to be able to get and acquire much bigger properties as a result of it. But you want to decide which of the two you want to go into, whether you want to go into harvest mode or legacy mode. So these were the 10 steps I recommend that I would tell my son, that I would tell a loved one to become ridiculously wealthy. But now I want to hear from you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where are you right now in your wealth journey? If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll be replying to each and every one of them, and I'll see you then.